Welcome to the channel, everybody. I am Phil Beckwith, the professional painter and decorator. Now, busman's holiday, I'm doing a bit of work at home. I've got some outside wooden benches, shall I say. You can just see them, I'm touching them there. And they want a coat of stain, they want a coat of varnish, they want some protection on them. So today I'm going to try and keep it brief. What I'm going to do, I'm going to sand these down. I'm going to give them a coat of Osmo, and we're going to make a bit of a garden makeup transformation. So I'm going to talk about the prep that I'm going to be doing and also the tools that I'm using, and we'll get into this video in 1, 2, 3. Right, we're back. Right, let's start with prep. These wooden, I'll call it hardwood, I don't know what wood it is. It might be anaconda, it might be anything, it could be, I'm not sure. It's got quite a tight grain. Now, when these were fitted about 5 years ago, I just coated them up with some stuff I got in the workshop, which was probably a Sickens HLS or something like that. Now, they've weathered, they've obviously deteriorated over that 3, 4, 5 years, and last year I planned to actually give these a coat of something, but I didn't get round to it. The weather in 2024 was atrocious over the summer, so all I managed to do was actually jet wash them clean of any algae or any dirt that was on them, bird poo. So I'm coming back into 2025, we've got the summer here, and I thought it might be time to just get on these and make them look a little bit better. So the plan is, they have been jet washed down last year, they're good to go other than just giving a bit of a sand and a dust off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the Merker. Just behind the camera is the actual vacuum cleaner section of the Merker, you know what I mean. You can hear it, and I have the Dios, this is the square Merker, and I'm going to sand these down just to give them a little bit of a key, and anything that is rough, it'll just smooth it off. Now, you might have heard me mention SurfPrep sanding pads before. I've got some SurfPrep samples to try, and I'm trying them out on my Merker Dios, and these are the sanding pads from SurfPrep that I've got the sponge on it. Now, these are the is that about nearly a 10mm, 5mm thickness, can you see that, of sponge that goes straight on with the Velcro, and it's a sanding pad giving you a little bit of cushioning. Now, that sanding pad is a 120 to 150. They do other ones, and I've got them in the box. This is a multi-pack, and they do them also in thicker sizes. So depending on what you're actually sanding down, if you've got architraves and mouldings, it might be better to go to something thicker that can be pressed in and contoured and moulded to the surface that you're going over. But because there's not too much on here as a surface, I'm going with the thinner one. So you can see the difference, it's the red, like that. So these are the SurfPrep, no sponsorship, no endorsement or anything, but I have got these as a sample to try out. And so far, what I've found is they've been very good. They do them in different sizes, they do them in the round discs as well, and they do them without the sponge on. So these, if you do see these about, try and get a sample to try, or if you know that you can get your hands on these to purchase and you've used them before, yeah, they are very good. If you've not used them before, give them a try. So yeah, let's get rid of those, they're very good. What I'm going to be coating up with, Osmo. Now, this is Osmo Oil. This is the Natural Oil Woodstain. Now, you can use this outside. It is microporous, it's a long-term protection for your wood, and the idea is I'm going to give it one coat today, and then I'll come back tomorrow and give it another coat. The drying time for this is 4 to 6 hours, so leave it till the next day. Depending on your conditions, you might be able to get 2 coats on in a day, but if you can't, leave it till next day. Now, this is a 2-in-1. It's a base and top coat in one, which is brilliant. I've not got to use anything else. It is a coating protecting against mold, algae and fungal attack. Rapid technology, 2 coats in 1 day. Now, I'm not going to do 2 coats in 1 day. I will come back tomorrow and give it another one. But this is, if you can just see it, it is the microporous long-term protection for exterior use. Now, the colour I've gone for is the 128, which is the Red Cedar. So I'm hoping that will put a bit of colour into this, bit of a reddish hardwood that I've already got here. So let's fingers crossed this all penetrate in and give it a nice little bit of a, let's call it pop. We like plenty of pop in this garden. we've got the orange there, so a red to that will be very nice. Now, application wise, I'm going to go in with the brush. I've got to try now. If you remember a few weeks ago, a month or so ago, Crampsey came to see me, and he brought me a couple of samples because he is an ambassador for Arroworthy, and he says, Phil, try one of these. Now, this is a Red Frost. This is ideal for any paint, and it can be used for stain. It is, if you can just see on there, it's for all paints and stains and finishes, and it is a firm bristle. Now, what's nice about this is the colour. It's got a little bit of a pink colour to it. So I'm planning on, let's just brush out any loose bristles. I'm planning on cutting in with this, going around all the edges the best I can, and then I'm going to give it a go with one of the Arroworthy, another sample that he sent me, the Arroworthy Barracuda mini roller, and the matching sleeve to it, which is roughly about a 10mm. Now, what's interesting about this, if I just pull that off, can you see that? It's not just a metal bar, it is actually a proper, what you call a roller frame on it, with the little clippy grippies that hold a wide core mini roller. So that slides on there, pushes on very tightly. That's not going to slide off. So I'm thinking I cut in and do all the edges that I can't get to with the roller, and then just put this over the surface to get an even application. All being well, that should put enough of the oils of the Osmo oil onto there to penetrate in. I will always say to you, look at the surface, look at the substrate that you're actually working on, because it might not be beneficial to put your paints on or varnishes with a roller straight away. It might be better to actually apply it with a brush, because that will put a little bit more paint on, and you can gauge it to actually push it into the surface, if that makes sense. You can actually work it into the surface. Sometimes the roller might be putting it on the surface but not far enough into the soaking into the actual wood. But play it by ear, but I plan on using that with that, and we'll see how we go. So the only thing I'm going to mention is make sure you dust it off afterwards. Right, let's get the Merca going. Now you get the idea what I'm doing. I'm actually feeling that there, and it is ever so silky smooth. That is the 120 to 150. You could go coarser if you wanted, but I think that is fine. Now, I'm not expecting all this soaked in varnish to come off with the sander. If you wanted to go to town and really actually sand it all off, you could do. I'm going to try and get off as much as I possibly can. I'm hoping that the colour of the red that's going to go on is going to try and even up any of this patchy, let's call it patchiness. It's probably not patchy, it's just where the previous stains have actually soaked in. I'll try and get off as much as I possibly can, and we'll see what it looks like. Now, the reason I'm using this and not a rotary round orbital is because if you're doing varnishing, if you're doing staining and things, you really want to be rubbing down with the grain of the wood and not actually scratching across it. This is the nearest thing I'm going to get to for going with the grain of the wood. Now, if you do go with an orbital with the round dual action sort of sanders, which are going in a circular motion, you could do that for your first sand, and then when you actually finish off, you could actually finish with this sort of sander, which just really goes up and down, or even finish by hand. But so far that's feeling really smooth. I'm liking that. I'm not going to get into those little grooves very easily with that, so if you have got a bit of sandpaper with you that you can fold over, you could just sand those grooves out when you've actually done the main sanding, and that's what I'll do. So we're not going to make this into a 40-minute video. I'm going to say I'll see you later when all this is sanded down and we're going to get some of the Osmo out. This is one side done, and now getting on to this side. Here we are. I've all sanded these down. I can't get them any better than that. I did use one of the other sanding pads, the SurfPrep, the thicker sponge, and went over them again. They're all nice and smooth. I've dusted them all off and I'm ready to get the Osmo on. Now, in the grooves, it's like a song, and let's get in the groove. I did get a little bit of used sandpaper, you know, the standard Mercer sandpaper that you can get, the Abranet, whatever it's called, and folded it over and just pushed it down these gaps here and went round sanding all the way along, and then dusted it off with a duster brush. So we're all good to go, and I'm going to get the paint out now, the actual Osmo. So I'll see you in a second. Right, we're about ready to go now to get some of this Osmo Natural Oil Woodstain on. Now, this is, I said earlier, 2-coat process. We're going over virtually a bare surface, so this will have a coat today and a coat tomorrow. Now, if you were going over previously Osmo oiled surfaces as a renovation, you'd probably find that you're sufficient just going with 1 coat. So just play it by ear. If you think you need 2, give it another. Same with this. If this needs 3, I'll give it another coat the day after tomorrow, but all being well, 2 coats should be fine. Now, it does say drying time is about 12 hours, but the recoat time is 4 to 6. Now, cleaning your brushes out and your rollers, it does say to use the Osmo cleaner. It does say on the back there, it says with Osmo brush cleaner, free from aromatic compounds. I think you could probably get away with washing your brush out with white spirit. That's what I'll be doing, because that's what I've got. Once you've cleaned your brush out with white spirit, spin it, get any last little bits of white spirit out of it, and you can also finish off, if you so desire, with a little bit of methylated spirit. Spin that out, and then you can actually wash them out in the sink with a bit of warm water with some fairy liquid, well, washing up liquid. No endorsement for fairy liquid, but some washing up liquid. But I think you might be good to go, really, just keeping with white spirit. So I'm going to go in with this. I'm going to start going all the way across. It does say application wise, it is a brush and a microfiber roller. Don't put too much on, put a nice coating on. And I'm always going to say to you, please read the instructions, because it does say with Osmo, method of application, with Osmo flat brush or a microfiber roller, apply thinly along the grain and spread well. Now, that's what I was saying about sanding down. Make sure you go with the grain, and likewise when you come to actually put your paints, your varnishes on, you go and finish off with the length, i.e. with the grain of the wood. So let's move the camera around and let's try a little bit of this Osmo oil on the surface. Nothing as exciting as putting a bit of varnish stain on. Now, I'm going to go with a length of the wood at a time. I'm not going to bring too many across. I'm just going to carefully brush it onto the surface. I'll spin you around so you can see where I'm starting. That's better. And with this being a firm bristle brush, it's the Red Frost. I'll do it like this. You can actually cut in quite neatly and nice to the surfaces around you, hence why I've not gone in with any tape. I'm putting it on. It feels very dry. Do you know what? That's going on really nice. I might just keep with the brush for now. Yeah, I'm going to keep with the brush. Scrub it out. Get your bristles of your brush down that little bit of a gap. Make sure you go both sides, so you want to catch it evenly, and scrub it out. I can actually feel it being a very waxy, oily finish, so that's good. And so far so good. That is going on really nicely. You can see what I'm doing. I'm actually bringing one strip of wood across at a time. Now, with these being a slash cut brush, if you get it on the right angle, you can see what I'm doing. You can cut in really neat up against that wall. Dead easy to cut in against that wall. Once you've got enough on your brush, scrub it out, make sure you get down that groove there, twist your brush around as you're brushing and lay off with that grain, don't over apply. Look at that, it's looking lovely. Then I'm coming up to the end here, using the point of the bristle to get that last corner, that right angle corner, coming along and pushing it in, scrubbing it out, not overloading it with the oil varnish, and then literally just laying it off, getting it all neat all the way along. And that is one stretch from there all the way to there. So I'm going to carry on with this. Once I've done, I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. I think you can see a difference from one coat to no coats. What a difference, look at that. Now, I did think I was going to use that microfiber roller, but you know what, it goes on so nicely and so easily with that brush, and I can actually brush it out and control how much of the oil I'm actually putting on. I'm going to stick with that Red Frost. Okay, that's them both coated up. It's not been done long, a few minutes, so it is soaking in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come back tomorrow, give it another coat first thing in the morning, so it's got time to dry, and I will come back to you once all that is coated up and dried. Now, first initial thoughts, this has soaked in lovely. It's got an even colour to it now, which I'm happy about because it did look a little bit patchy. So let's hope tomorrow it's nice and dry and I can get a second coat on easily. It will go on a lot easier because you've got a surface that is now pre-coated. A second coat always goes on better than a first coat that's going on to dry bare substrates, woods, plasters, anything like that. So I will see you tomorrow once it's all coated up and dry. So we'll get a final summing up. Catch you later. Welcome back everybody. Now, it was well early this morning that I actually got the second coat on here, and seconds ago you've just seen what it looked like with a second coat on compared to just a one coat down on this side. And I explained about if you've got bare surfaces, bare woods, and using a thin down version of the product that you're using to actually soak into that grain or substrate. Now I've come back, I've had a day at the cricket, so I look a bit windswept and red and pink because I've been in the sun, but I've come back. It's been a nice drying day. It's been a good, I'll probably say 10 hours since I actually coated all these up, and we're coming to the end of the day. Now the finish on this, I'm just going to say, very impressed. I've not used an Osmo product outside like this before, and this is the Osmo Natural Oil Woodstain. I'll read it again because people skip through these videos and don't always pick up on the information. It's a microporous long-term protection for exterior use. It's natural oil based. It's 2-in-1, base and top coat in one, coating protection against mold, algae and fungal attack. And it's they've got the rapid technology two coats in one day, which I didn't do. I did the first coat yesterday, and I've come back this morning to actually give the second coat. Now the two coats has actually gone on quite well. It's not needed. I don't think it needs a third coat. I would say to you, maintenance wise, I would probably do one coat this time next year and give it another coat just as that maintenance program, a little bit like what it says on the back of the tin. So all in all, I've been very impressed with this Osmo. If you've used Osmo like this outside, give us some comments below. Tell me how long it's actually lasted. Are you quite impressed with it? Are you disappointed with it? What's the lifespan of this once you've actually got it on? Is it a case that you go 12 months and it starts coming off? I don't know. That's why I'm going to come back this time next year, and I'm going to be giving it another coat just as a maintenance coat to keep this wood nourished and looking spick and span. And if I spin round, these look lovely. Look at that, it goes all the way around, and I go all the way around to that side there. And from me jet washing these off last year because they were looking a bit of a state, I've actually brought a bit of life back into these benches in my own garden. So a little bit of a busman's holiday. Right, let's back down to basics. What did I think of this brush? That Red Frost brushed, very nice. It is a firmer bristle. It is in the Arroworthy range of brushes. The firmer bristle, I can't even say it, the firmer bristle was a very nice cutting in brush, with it being that slash cut. It allowed me to go around these edges here and cut in very neatly against the wall. And I would say if you are using this inside or more jobs outside, the firmer the bristle, the easier it is for you to keep a straight edge when you are actually cutting in. They do brushes, and I've got some that I'll be trialing probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks. You'll see on future videos other Arroworthy brushes that have a softer bristle, but because of this, because the product is, it's not a thick product, with it being a wax oily product, I thought it might be beneficial to actually go with that stiffer bristle to actually do the cutting in and brushing out, and it was fine. I did say at the very beginning of the video that I'd probably be using a roller to get it onto the surface. Do you know what? I didn't need to. The brush was suffice. It was enough to actually go over the surface. It didn't take me very long. I'd say these are coated up easily within half an hour. And I'm just going to say to everybody, these faces, just be mindful if you've got any areas that have got little screws in them. You might just get a bit of material, i.e. product of the paint or the wax oil, just creeping on it. So once you've got it coated up, if you see a little bit of a run, just go back and just easily just waft it out, just feather it out. There's no problem with this for touching up. But all in all, this has gone on really well with this brush. Cleaning out, I did go in with some white spirit. I did wash it out, and then I've got some brush cleaner and just finished off with that. I would probably say that I'm sniffing the bristle, you know what I'm like, got to sniff the bristle. I can smell the white spirit in there. I would say that brush would probably benefit from another wash out with some white spirit. You could probably go white spirit, methylated spirit, and then do your brush cleaner. That's what we used to do at college. We used to use, particularly for oil-based paints, we used to do the white spirit first, get all the paint out of it, and then shake anything out, spin a brush. If you don't know how to spin a brush, that's something the old, I say old, probably new people do it as well, but it's an old school thing. You spin a brush out like that into a paint kettle, all the white spirit or anything that was in that as a cleaning material would come out. Once you've done the white spirit, methylated spirit just kills that white spirit, and then again spin out, and then you can go with brush cleaner and go with some warm soapy water. That's not too bad now, but I think I will let that soak in some more white spirit and clean it out probably tomorrow. But all in all, I'm going to say there's some videos coming up at the end. Please watch those. That supports the channel. People who are doing the super thanks, you can see that down in the link below. Super thanks and buy me a coffee. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. And I will say, anybody who is actually supporting the channel, buying something off the Amazon Associates links, which are all in the description below, you'll see different brushes, you'll see products like this in there. Thank you very much. I only get a small percentage from Amazon if anybody purchases anything through those Amazon links. Don't think I'm being sponsored or getting a percentage from the companies that are selling. It is Amazon, just helps me as an associate to get a little bit of a percentage back from Amazon, not these companies. So videos at the end. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next one. Hope this has been helpful. Give us some comments below.